Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Reckless Paradise podcast. I am your host, Dystro, and welcome to December, everyone. Happy holidays. We are freaking 11 days away from, or well, not 11 days, 11 days from December 15th, but we are, gosh, man, like so close to Christmas. Just less than 2.5 weeks away. Um, yeah. So, well, I know it's 17 days before my birthday. Happy early birthday present to me. But tonight's episode is gonna be a look back and then also a rebooking of particular ECW event around this time. The one that I'm talking about, you guys know what I'm going to be talking about, is ECW's December to Dismember from 2006. This is the 19-year anniversary. Maybe I could have waited till the 20th anniversary of it, but might as well just rip the band-aid off and just get done with, you know? Um, yeah, so this was the December to Dismember pay-per-view with the promotional poster featuring the Sandman parodying the movie Silent Night, Deadly Night. This was the only time that they ever did well, not the only time, but it was the rebrand of WWE ECW. There was several December to Dismembers before this. Um, but they did it in 1995, and then it just closed down. You know how it did in real life, and then it got brought back in 2006. Um, but the main event for the 95 one was the Public Enemy, the Pitbulls, and Tommy Dreamer versus the Heavily Bodies, the Eliminators, and Raven, and Stevie Richards in an Ultimate Jeopardy Steel Cage match, which is basically like War Games to them. So, what I'm going to do is kind of like go in depth on the December to Dismember pay-per-view, and then I am going to open up a new tab on Reddit and see who or how it would be rebooked for certain people, or how they would book it. Um, so, this was a professional wrestling pay-per-view by the WWE. Yes, it was WWE ECW. It was held primarily for wrestlers of the ECW brand, and the WWE's only non-one night only pay-per-view to be ECW exclusive. The event took place on December 3rd, 2006 at the James Brown Arena in Augusta, Georgia. Despite it being an ECW brand pay-per-view, some wrestlers from Raw and SmackDown also worked that show. It was the second and final event in the December to Dismember chronological order, after the original 1995 event was held at the former ECW promotion. WWE acquired the assets of ECW in 2003 and then launched their own ECW brand in May of 2006. Now, what the attendance record was 4,800 in attendance, which, I mean, it's not a bad house. You know, that's not really a bad house. But the buy rate was 90,000 buys. Compared to Survivor Series, that was the week before, was 383,000 buys. Um, that goes to show you, like, how much they did not really care about ECW in WWE. Um, because the main event was an Extreme Elimination Chamber, which had Big Show, Bobby Lashley, RVD, Hardcore Holly, CM Punk, and Test. Yes, Andrew the Punisher, the Martin Test. Um, yeah, very ECW of this show to be happening here. Um, the featured bout was like on the undercard, which is very crazy. I mean, the best match of the fucking night was the Hardys versus Eminem, which was like the best match of the night. Like I said, the event had the attendance of 4,800. It received about 90,000 pay-per-view buys, with 55,000 of them were domestic, which was the lowest buy rate in WWE history until the introduction of the WWE Network in 2014. Critical reception was also very poor, with many regarding of it as the worst pay-per-view in WWE history. Although it was scheduled to be held again in 2007, but the show was canceled after WWE discontinued the brand's exclusive pay-per-views following WrestleMania 23 in April of '07. So that goes to show you how it kind of just was like up in the air, and they're like, "Oh, well, we'll go get to it," and all stuff like no. So I guess a little bit of a background here. It says in 2001, ECW promotion was closed down due to financial issues, and the WWE acquired the assets in 2003. In May of 2006, the WWE launched a third brand dubbed ECW, in which former talent from the defunct promotion, as well as newer talent, would compete. It says in '95, they held an event December to Dismember, and I actually want to go over that card just to real quick, just see like what was going on that time. Let's see here. So we had the Dudley Brothers, which was Bubba Ray Dudley and Dances with Dudley, with Big Dick Dudley, Chubby Dudley, and Sign Guy Dudley. We had the Bad Crew, which was Dog and Rose, which Dog is, I guess, I don't know who that would be. And then Rose is from the exact same thing. They're called the Bad Crew. Um, Going through the 1990s in ECW, CZW, and WXW. Good to know. A tag match went 2 minutes. That's crazy. Taz defeated El Puerto Riquino. I'm probably butchering that, which went almost 3.5 minutes. Hack Myers, which um, I remember him from like old ECW tapes. Defeated Bruiser Mastino, which goes on to be Mantar in the WWF, which is kind of crazy. The Eliminators, Saturn and Cronus defeated the Pit Bulls, which sounds sick. Raven defeats Tommy Dreamer by TKO. Okay. JT Smith defeated Tony Statson, also known as the Hitman. Nice. In 5 minutes. The Sandman defeats Mikey Whipwreck and Steve Austin in a three-way dance for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Yes, this was when the time of Mikey Whipwreck was the world champion, held it for like a month, and then went back to the Sandman. And then semi-main was the Public Enemy versus the Heavenly Bodies, which went almost 9 minutes. But then they were still in the ring, and they fought in a Ultimate Jeopardy steel cage. In what was in there was these were the stipulations. Raven's stipulation was whoever got defeated or whoever defeated him would get his valet Beulah McGillicuddy for a week, which ends up being Tommy Dreamer's wife, which that's awesome. Tommy Dreamer would have his head shaved. The Public Enemy, they would be forced to wrestle one another, which, okay, that doesn't sound too bad. The Pit Bulls, they would be forced to split up, and whoever down or defeated them would get their valet Francine for a week. The Eliminators, they would be forced to leave ECW, and their manager Jason would have his head shaved, of course. Stevie Richards, he would be locked in a cage for 5 minutes with the members of the other team. Oh shit! And then the Heavenly Bodies was all the stipulations for their team would be enforced. I don't know who wins in that one. Let's see here. It says, after Dreamer began to beat down Richards, Raven and his allies re-entered the cage and attacked Dreamer. Raven and his allies then attacked Dreamer and then his team until the Sandman came into the ring and drove him away. I guess. Oh, okay. So Dreamer pinned Richards. So then he would be locked in the cage for 5 minutes with the other members of his team, which actually sounds pretty sick. And I think this attendance record was 1,000. I mean, they didn't really have much in the ECW arena at that time. Which I mean, truth be told, it's a small building. Um, so kind of going over some of these matches here. But I want to go over some of the reception for this December to Dismember pay per view here. Curtis Gate had a negative reaction to the pay per view, with the only match that received praise being the Hardy Boys versus Eminem. Slam Sports rated the pay per view 4 out of 10 stars, stating the two matches that were promoted saved this thing from being a debacle. That's kind of true. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter in 2007, the event was voted the worst wrestling or major wrestling show of the year. Despite being a 2006 event, the 2006 award going to UFC 61. December to Dismember is also considered to be one of the worst pay-per-views in WWE history, and then PW Insider's Mike Johnson called it one of the worst pay-per-views ever. So, kind of going over this. They've probably talked about this in length on different shoot interviews and all that stuff. But then, less than 24 hours after the pay per view, WWE announced that on their official website that Vince McMahon has sent Paul Heyman home, citing slumping television ratings and a disgruntled talent roster as causes for Mr. Heyman's dismissal. Heyman was escorted from the Coliseum and sent home. He was also immediately pulled from ECW's creative team after the altercation. McMahon was attempting to put the blame on Heyman for the poorly received pay-per-view despite Heyman having been overruled on multiple booking decisions. And after a meeting with Vince's Stephanie McMahon, Heyman allegedly left WWE but remained under contract. Heyman was against the decision of Bobby Lashley being booked to win the ECW World Championship and instead wanted to have CM Punk win it. A decision Vince McMahon disliked. This situation was cited by Punk in his controversial work shoot promo in 2011, which was the infamous pipe bomb, which he referred to the idea as one in which Heyman saw something in Punk that no one else wanted to admit. Upset at how the event turned out, Tommy Dreamer and Steve Richards both asked after the event to be released from their contracts. Both requests were refused by McMahon and the head of talent relations, VP of talent relations, Joe Lordis. And then it says after December to Dismember, Big Show was offered a long-term contract extension by WWE, reported to be around $1 million a year. He declined, however, reasoning he was burnt out and hurting physically. I mean, that makes sense. And then Big Show and Bobby Lashley faced one more time for the ECW World Championship. And then he announced his retirement from wrestling, and then he made his return in 2008 at No Way Out, which was Big Show. Okay, so this is the card for the December to Dismember 2006. There's 6 matches, including the pre-show, which was a dark match. Steve Richards versus Rene Dupree. Actually, doesn't sound too bad, actually. So, opening match was Hardy's versus Eminem. And then it just goes off the rails a little bit. Balls Mahoney versus Matt Striker in a Striker Rules match. Elijah Burke and Sylvester Terkay defeated the FBI. Daivari versus Tommy Dreamer. Okay. Kevin Thorne and Ariel defeats Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly, and then the Dream Elimination Chamber match for the ECW World Championship. It's like Punk entered first, but then he gets eliminated by RVD, which gets a huge chorus of boos. I don't know why Hardcore Holly was in there. I mean, I could understand RVD in Punk, but like Test, like okay, Big Show, okay, Bobby Lashley, okay, whatever. Um, but it's like I don't know what they were thinking. Um, but then it's like the ECW talent pool at that time wasn't really that deep. Like there was like Dreamer, Sabu, RVD, Sandman. Like those were some of the original OGs from that time because you don't see Terry Funk doing that shit. You don't see Mick Foley doing that shit either. Um, like it's hard to say who kind of was to blame for some of this. I would say person to blame is probably Vince for this. Because like Heyman was trying to run a ship, but it's like every single decision Heyman was trying to make or trying to do, Vince just shot it down. And he was just like, no, 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 no. And it's kind of like I don't blame Heyman. Like like he left in a heap, and he just like he was just like fuck you, Vince. And he doesn't come back until like I think 2011, 2012 to do the stuff with Brock. Like he's gone for a long time. Um, and I mean, like I said, I do not blame him. Um, but I have a tab open. And this was from the Reddit r fantasy booking. The username is D Generation MC. Shout out. This is how they rebooked ECW December to Dismember 2006. Um, they did this a couple years ago because they rebooked the whole show. Um, but they did a or this was they did it 6 years ago, but they did one for 3 years ago. Um, so they kind of did it in the mold of what they thought the WWE ECW brand should have been during the first 6 months. But they said with this version, they're trying to stick to the reality as close as they can. Which I mean, I understand that. I kind of respect that. Um, so they kept the dark match between Stevie Richards and Renee Dupree. That's fine, but they had kind of put some different elements into it, which I kind of liked. Um, so they kind of completely stripped the extreme elimination chamber, and they just did just straight up like matches and all stuff, which I thought was cool. Um, the Hardys versus Eminem versus the FBI in a three-way dance. That actually sounds a little bit more entertaining, to be honest with you. Instead of reunited Eminem laying out an open challenge for the pay-per-view of a brand that they aren't even on or part of, FBI will issue it instead where both the Hardys and Eminem answer. I'd rather not bring Eminem back together and have them face each other here, but I'll stay close to what happened in reality. FBI gets their fair share of offense here, but end up eating the pin from Matt and Jeff, so Eminem don't have to, which that makes sense. And then we also get a tease of Melina slash Trinity calf fight, only for the ladies to act buddy buddy and help the each other shield their bodies from the male gaze of the fans' dismay. That's kind of funny. Um, the next match we have is Hardcore Holly with Matt Striker versus Balls Mahoney in a Strikers Rules match. Hardcore Harley and Matt Striker together. That actually sounds pretty legit, actually. Striker successfully gets Holly to do his dirty work against Balls. However, Holly grows tired of Striker and lays him out with Alabama Slam after the match, and then Balls wallops Striker with a chair shot to the head and leaves. Okay, that's fine. I would take that over Balls Mahoney versus Matt Striker. Because Matt Striker at that time, he wasn't really a good worker. Like, I know him more as like a commentator guy, which I already know. Um, And I mean, it's kind of what it is. Bobby Lashley versus Sylvester Terkay. That actually sounds pretty good. Two MMA influenced juggernauts collide as Lashley debuts in ECW to set him up, breaking Takai's undefeated streak in this match. That actually sounds pretty legit. Like having one of the kind of established name like in Sylvester Terkay going up against Bobby Lashley, like who's just debuting and all that stuff. That would make sense. Um, Great Khali with Davari defeats Tommy Dreamer. Oh god. As per usual in ECWR, Tommy will take a Jesus Christ-esque beating here for the sake of the brand. Khali easily overpowers him, but Dreamer refuses to stay down, using weapons, luck, and smarts for the odd hope spot before begging for more punishment until the giant puts him down for good. I mean, that would make sense, like for the good of the brand, for the love of the brand. This one would be an interesting one to see. Sabu and Sandman versus Mike Knox and Kevin Thorne with Kelly and Ariel in a Stairway to Hell match. Oh my gosh, that'd be freaking crazy. Playing off the inaugural Stairway to Hell match where Sabu and Sandman face off, now they will team together. Sabu was written off for the Sabu was written off the real show due to him being difficult concerning a promo he was scheduled to cut for the Chamber. For the sake of realism, I'll go along with that and keep the angle of Sabu. Saman's original partner for this match being attacked backstage to make this a handicap match for the most part. Saman takes a lot of punishment until we get a cat fight when Kelly has enough of Mox's mistreatment and goes at it with Ariel. That would make sense, causing dissension between the heels. While Thorne is distracted, Sabu returns to take him out with a chair shot before putting him through a table, and Saman uses the Singapore King to even the odds, pinning Knox. Excuse me. After the match, Thorne and Ariel crawl away in a huff, while Kelly and Sandman have celebratory beers over the body of Knox as Sabu simply poses. That'd be kind of cool. Threw in the match hype just to add a little extra original ECW flavor to it. Hey, it's a lot more fitting than the Elimination Chamber. Damn right. um, Next matchup is Test versus RVD. Naturally, RVD would be in the main, even probably winning the title off the Big Show, but his weed incident during the summer goes against WWE, actually putting this responsibility on his shoulders again. So he will be used to put over Task as the next big title challenger for the Rumble. Yeah, I mean that would be kind of interesting, because RVD and Sabu, almost said Sabu was doing the wacky tobacco. And putting over Test as this huge monster and the title contender for the Rumble that year, I mean, that would be sick. Puts him over, and in the main event, CM Punk versus Big Show with Paul Heyman in a title versus streak match for the ECW World Championship. Punk's undefeated streak was still intact here, and Show was probably the brand's best draw, having faced the likes of DX, Undertaker, Kane, Batista, and Ric Flair on ECW TV. So them clashing could be a neat hook to sell this pay-per-view. Punk manages to chop Show down using his influence stuff, but Heyman's security team, the Basham brothers, interfere to assist the big man, and that's when Vince's preferred ECW protagonist Bobby Lashley comes down to deliver justice. He spears both of the Bashams simultaneously and stares down Heyman to prevent him from further influencing the match. A well-timed Anaconda Vice is lashed onto Show for a very long time until the champion cements as Punk becomes the ECW champion to cap off his 6-month meteoric rise to the brand, I should say, sending fans home happy. I know Heyman pitched Punk and eliminated Show first in the elimination or the Extreme Chamber within the first couple of minutes, so this match wouldn't have to exceed 10 minutes and resemble Royce Gracie's early UFC fights. Oh my gosh, I remember that. The show closes with CM Punk celebrating as Lashley gives him a sly look that he'll be coming after the title soon, setting them up clashing at No Way Out, leading to Vince getting his wish of ECW World Heavyweight Champion Bobby Lashley. Um, I would prefer watching this, the ECW rebooking of this pay per view, over the actual pay per view. Because not gonna lie, the the triple threat between Hardy's, Eminem, and FBI, that would actually be kind of sick. Not gonna lie, because Little Guido and Tony Mamaluke at the time, they were still working. They were still doing pretty good. And plus, like the two valets fighting over stuff is like that's kind of funny. Um, Seeing like Hardcore Holly and Balls Mahoney in a Striker Rules match makes sense. You know, two hardcore guys. And then you have like Lashley versus Kirk High. The Stairway to Hell match between Sabu and Sandman versus Mike Knox and Kevin Thorne. That'd be actually kind of interesting to see how they would do it on a pay per view. Test being put over RVD because of the incident between RVD and Sabu. That would make sense. And plus, Punk's moment in the sun after the meteoric rise of 6 months on the ECW brand would be a perfect capping off point for that pay per view. Um, I think it would do like big, huge numbers because a lot of people wanted to see Punk get his due and win the world title. I don't think he wins it until, gosh, man, like I would have to look at it now. Um, I think he doesn't. I think he doesn't win it until like like '07. Like something like that. Like I think he wins it. I know he wins it at some point, but I can't remember uh when he wins it. Let me have a look here. I don't care. I don't care about Jimmy Snuka. Uh, Honk. He wins it in '07. He wins it in '07. And then because he holds it for 143 days, and then he loses it to Chavo, and then yeah, and then Kane wins it at WrestleMania that year in '08. Um, and then like that's Punk's like one and only freaking title reign, which is crazy. Um, like that's sad, you know, like that is really sad. Because then like Ezekiel Jackson was like the last world champion, and then it just went defunct after that. Um, this was actually a really good, interesting episode to do. To like kind of like look back on a shitty pay per view and just see how they rebooked. I kind of want to do some of that like in the future. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments below. I actually had a good time just like looking at like the actual card itself versus the rebooking. And shout out to D Generation MC on Fantasy Booking. This was actually a really interesting rebooking for this. But yeah, this is actually kind of fun. And that is the end of our episode. I really appreciate you guys listening to us and or watching on YouTube. If you have made it to the end of this video, please make sure to follow us on all social media links in the description below, which will take you to our Linktree page, which will take you to our Instagram pages, Twitter pages, the podcast Reddit page, my gaming YouTube channel is on there. I am super close to 1,600. I think, 15 subscribers away. I know I can do it. I know we can do it. And tonight's song tonight, it is going to be Simple Plan, and it is going to be Ruin My Life, featuring the lead singer from Sum 41. Not rest in peace, but rest in peace, Sum 41. They're no longer a band. It makes me sad. And yeah, that is it. And I know there is a music video for it. And yeah, that is it. And I will see you guys next Thursday. Peace.